Okay, so as I was just saying, if you do want to create this in another platform, if you are uncomfortable in XD and you really don't want to even kind of try to wrap your head around this, that's totally fine. I absolutely get it. I would rather you guys wrap your heads around the how to visually make these correct than to, try a new program and if you're like stressed out about it. So if you are using it, just jump into XD, or again, a Google search will do the same thing. But if you have XD open, it's nice and easy. Just pick your actual pixel size. So as I was saying, if you use an iPhone X, there's my pixel size, 375 by 812. For my web desktop, I'm going to start with 920 by 1080. So when you do that, I went over this in the first video, but just to reiterate, when we click, we have this dotted line that comes up, which is called the fold. So that is generally where our website, when we land on the site, we do not see anything below this. So that means that could be our footer can go below this. Some people had a footer, but it seemed like they were squeezing it into that homepage screen, which isn't really necessary unless you have very, very valuable information in your footer, which essentially you probably don't want. People don't gravitate to a footer to get valuable information. We find it up here. So if you did happen to include your footer in that direct home screen, make that home screen a bit larger and then bump it under. So I'll just do that with you guys just to be sure. So let's just say we're going to go with this. There's our desktop screen. So say now, for instance, I'm just going to grab my footer from, oops. Say this is my, this is my footer. So now I'm going to pop my footer in there. But like I said, I don't really want to see that footer because it's really just kind of secondary information. Your homepage, you really want it, especially if it's like a portfolio website, you want it to like, you want to just win people over with a nice big image or a beautiful website versus see a lot of those nitty gritty details that we put in the footer. So we'll hinge it below, and then we're going to take that home screen, and then I'm going to open that up. So now I know that this technically, for the most part, is below our home screen. Again, unless you really want people to see your footer when they land on the website, you can keep it above. For the most part, I think open it up and bring it below, because that visually is like kind of mucking our things up a little bit by trying to get that footer in there. Okay, so again, this is a duplicate because we always want to make sure we still have our actual wireframes. If we moved anything around, we want to see what we had originally created, or potentially originally what our client has approved. So now we can start by building things out. You very well might already have a color palette in mind. So I built up this color palette real quick. You can start to develop those colors. Again, to whoopsies. These darn windows here. So for instance, now we're going to, let's find some colors. So we're going to, this was from our wireframe, so I'm going to change these up. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go fill, and I find another color. I'm going to click that, go to my fill. Maybe I want to keep that blue in there. Go to that. This is looking like a bit of a wild color palette here. Let's make it crazier. And what do we need? Purple, pink, there we go. So this is a bit nuts, so here we go. So then we would just, so those are now our website colors. We go ahead and highlight all those. We press that plus sign and boom, now we've got the colors laid out for our website, which is great because we always need to stay consistent with our color tones, okay? So I'll just delete that because I don't literally want those colors, but that's how we can build those guys out. It's great, you've got your hex codes here as well. I'm just checking if I have any, okay. So now, for instance, we can start coloring things up. So this was where this represented a color. This represents an image. So say now for a color, I would like it to be this. Now say for an image, just as I showed you in the previous walkthrough, say for instance, I want that image there. So now I can simply drag and drop. I can adjust this font color. I would like this to now be in this green tone. And now I'm going to actually, this should have been done before, but obviously be much catchier than my crappy headline here, but instead of this being shop now I've decided, again, these things probably should have been nailed down before, but just for the purpose of today. Woo! Okay, so now I'm going to change that text. Let's make that. Whoops, I didn't have white in here. So this is at this stage now where you're like, ooh, that type is real small. I think I'm going to have to change up my character style. So now we're going to say I'm going to move this up to 60. Maybe we want to go a little, a little bit more. Just like you would scale up in Illustrator or Photoshop, if you press Command Shift and the greater than arrows, that opens things up for you. And then you just start to, again, just taking your sketch, your wireframe, just adjusting my line height here. And then we are adding our elements. So now here I envision this being this color. And I'm going to put some real text in there. I'm going to put my logo in here. This is my portfolio section. So I'm going to start to add those actual portfolio pieces. So we just start to drag and drop and add color. Okay, so this shouldn't be too tricky. But I'm thinking, or I'm hoping that it will be easy. That's what I'm trying to say.